What's up YouTube, Jeff back again, and today it is OnePlus 7 Pro launch day. If you're a huge Android fan, you've probably been following the news all week. Today the OnePlus 7 Pro is officially available in T-Mobile stores around the country, as well as on OnePlus website. I did pick up one from a local store here in the Phoenix area. They did only have the gray model, so if you want the Nebula Blue, you may have a difficult time finding those. It seems like a lot of T-Mobile stores only got the gray model, at least here in my area, and I've also heard a couple of other places as well. So today I want to do something a little different. I want to tell you guys 4 truths about the OnePlus 7 Pro and 2 lies. And what I mean by 4 truths and 2 lies are things that I've noticed people emphasizing in their early reviews, because I didn't get an early review in it, and also things that OnePlus emphasized in the keynote that I've found to either be true or a lie after using the phone here today and picking it up in store, playing around with it. So let's get right into it. The very first thing that OnePlus emphasized quite a bit in the keynote is Oxygen OS and how smooth it is and how many options you have built in and how it's better than stock, all of those things. And a lot of reviewers talked about that as well, and I definitely think that's true. Oxygen OS, in my opinion, is the best overall skinned version of Android that exists out there right now. You've got the light dark theme automatically built in there. You've got custom accent colors, lots of different choices for gestures. They still have the vibration slider here built into the software right there on the side for turning between vibration, silent, and notifications. Really great features overall. OnePlus has just continued to improve Oxygen OS. It's the smoothest overall Android system outside of stock Android, but on top of that, you get a lot of nice features that Google does not have on stock Android. So in my opinion, Oxygen OS is one of the biggest wins for OnePlus, and it's one of the things that makes their phone so appealing. Now, the next thing that they talked quite a bit about in the keynote is the improved haptic feedback / vibration motor. So of course, this might not be a huge deal to some people, but a lot of reviewers, including myself, complained a lot about the fact that the OnePlus 6 and the OnePlus 6T had a fairly weak vibration motor, which means when you're typing on your keyboard like this, you're not really getting very much haptic feedback. And if you compare it to something like a Galaxy S10 or an iPhone or a Pixel, you're going to notice a big difference, and it actually gives it a sort of nice feeling of quality when you're typing on it. And it is something that's a big deal to quite a few people. So OnePlus improved that on the OnePlus 7 Pro. 200% stronger vibration motor in here, and you can definitely tell when you're typing on the keyboard that they've improved that a lot here, and it definitely gives it a nicer feeling of quality. The next thing I want to talk about is the display on the OnePlus 7 Pro. This 90Hz display maximum refresh rate is very, very impressive. Scrolling, smoothness, navigating around the UI, gaming, anything you could want to do, the display on this device is truly amazing. And of course, this is one of the newest features that came to the OnePlus 7 Pro, so of course they emphasized this quite a bit in their original keynote. But to actually see the display and see how much market improvement they've made in that department, because that's a place where, in my opinion, OnePlus was kind of always mediocre. They were definitely lagging far behind Samsung, far behind the iPhone, places like that. This is an amazing display, not only for the refresh rate, but also the colors, the blacks, everything looks nice. You can see how nice this really dark wallpaper looks here. Just beautiful contrast overall, and I've really been impressed with this display. Now, I will say that it doesn't quite get as bright as the Galaxy phones. That, of course, is, Samsung has the best display technology in the world. They're going to always have the absolute best displays in their own devices, but it does get fairly bright outside, much nicer than previous OnePlus phones. And with all of the other aspects of the display put together, higher resolution, the maximum refresh rate now at 90 Hz, this is definitely a win for OnePlus at the end of the day. The next thing I want to talk about is the fingerprint sensor. So the fingerprint sensor on the 6T was a point of contention for a lot of people because sometimes it was a little bit laggy, it was a little bit slow, it was a little bit unreliable. I talked about it quite a bit in my review last year. I'm happy to say on the OnePlus 7 Pro, I've had absolutely zero problems with the fingerprint sensor. It is fast, it is very impressive, and also because of the refresh rate on the screen being a little bit higher, I'm assuming that has a little to do with it here, the animations also seem a bit snappier, so getting into the phone certainly seems like it's taking way less time. So if you use the OnePlus 6T and you were frustrated by the fingerprint sensor, I do think that's one thing that OnePlus definitely improved. They talk about it a little bit in the keynote, but I think it's a really big selling point because on the OnePlus 6T, I don't think the in-display fingerprint sensor was really there at that point to a place where you'd want to use it on a daily basis. I've really gotten used to my Galaxy S10 fingerprint sensor being fast and reliable, and so far I've noticed that this one is just as fast, perhaps faster, and also just as reliable as the Samsung fingerprint sensor. All right, so now let's talk about the two things that I think are lies from the original OnePlus keynote and some of the early reviews. And those things both have to do with the cameras on the device. So of course, OnePlus talked up how the back camera, the rear camera is much improved, the quality is going to be flagship, all those things. We've heard that a bunch of times from OnePlus. In playing around with this and also seeing some early shots from a lot of different sites and blogs and also YouTube reviewers, I have to disagree. I don't think the camera is quite on par with something like the Galaxy S10, the Huawei P30 Pro, even the iPhone and the Pixel, of course. It is an impressive camera, but in certain low light shots and also in certain situations, it's not as robust as those other cameras. Of course, I've only had a day with it to take photos myself, but I've seen a lot of photos that other people have taken. So at the end of the day, OnePlus does still have a passable camera with some nice features, but I do think there are quite a few cameras out there. In fact, they might even be in 5th or 6th place when it comes to cameras on phones. You've got definitely the P30 Pro, the Google Pixel 3, also the 3A, which just came out, pretty much the same phone with the same camera. You've got the iPhone, the XS Max. My XS Max takes great photos, Galaxy S10, and even the LG G8 with the wide angle definitely takes better wide angle shots. So it does have some advantages over the OnePlus 7 Pro as well. So while the camera is good, I still don't think it's at an elite flagship level. The next criticism I have is with the front-facing camera. So as you guys probably know, the front-facing camera pops up. It's a pop-out mechanical mechanism like so. And a lot of people have talked about how reliable this is going to be over time. OnePlus, of course, says they tested it. All these things, people said they've tried it 10,000 times and no issues. But as we know, and as we saw with the Samsung Galaxy Fold, mechanical parts are never a great idea on phones, and they can always lead to some failures that are unexpected down the road. So I personally don't think that the pop-up camera is a great solution to having a bezel-less phone. I think there are going to be other ways to go about it. I personally even like sort of the infinity punch on the Samsung devices a little bit better, just because I don't want to have the worry of mechanical parts over time, especially if you're going to use this phone for 3 years. Eventually you could see for some unforeseen issues, dust and things getting trapped in there while you're using it, issues that we saw with the Galaxy Fold that sometimes only come to light once real consumers are using it in practice. So I hope that in the future, OnePlus will go away from mechanical parts like the pop-up camera, but it's okay for me because I don't really take selfies, but there are a lot of people out there who take a lot of selfies, and this could end up being a problem for them in the future. Anyway, guys, that is my overview of 4 truths and 2 lies for the OnePlus 7 Pro. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification icon so I can make future videos like this. Find me at Google+, Instagram, Twitter, the links in the description. I really appreciate you guys checking this one out, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.